This episode of the NAST podcast is sponsored by Seattle Restored. Seattle Restored is actually the reason why I'm in NAST Studios in the first place. They partner with local artists and entrepreneurs to create pop-up shops, artist installations, artist residencies, and community events. Visit seattlerestored.org for more info on locations and upcoming events. Are you ready to take your podcast to the next level? Then look no further than NAST Studios, located in Seattle's Pioneer Square. Hi, I'm Blake. I'm the owner, in-house producer, and editor. We've got 3 cameras to capture every moment and can host up to 8 mics, ensuring your podcast looks and sounds professional. We've got affordable pricing for podcasters at all levels. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.naststudios.com. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm with the final participant of the Seattle Restored program that I'm interviewing. For this round, I guess. Maybe there'll be another round. But it's been 6 people, I think 6. And you're the final person, the final boss. It's Breannah Kanaly. I said it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Said it right.
I was stressing out.
It's a hard one.
But you are the founder of Daily Ritual Market.
Yeah.
And you're a Seattle Restored legacy participant.
That is like what they're calling us. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you feel like a legacy? That's a big word to like.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. No. I think it's been nice because we're kind of in this cohort together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like we're all still figuring it out, I think. And so you don't feel like as much pressure when you're around these other people that are also kind of figuring it out too.
Yeah, sure. So I had to look up what an apothecary is.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bird or like a place where birds are kept, but it's not. It's like a medicine store or something, right?
Yeah, kind of like holistic wellness.
Okay.
So I think it's like herbs and teas and tinctures and basically what modern medicine is, but like the pieces that become it, right? So like how you take like a pain reliever, but it's actually sometimes like white willow bark is really good for pain or things like that.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, but is this like, would this be like more, this is like Eastern medicine also kind of, or no?
Yeah, I think it's a fusion of a lot of different medicine, Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine, herbalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is this like popularized in the US, or is this something where you're kind of like niching out there with this type of company?
So there's a lot of bigger companies, I would say, that kind of touch on apothecaries. There's even Apotheca, which is like, they're a really big company, but they just do like different powders and things like that. I think in the Seattle area, there's Rainbow Natural Remedies, which is an apothecary, a little bit different than mine. They have more like medicine that you can use or tinctures or stuff like that. But there's not like that many. There's Four Sisters in Renton, but they're more like metaphysical. So they have like cauldrons and like
they're
they
witches.
Kind of, yeah.
Or is that like, is it okay to call someone a witch?
I think so. People people come into my store and call themselves witches. Okay. So I'm kind of, my goal is to kind of be like that middle point. So it's like approachable for people, but it's still kind of a little bit woo-woo is what I say.
So are you yourself a witch?
No, I don't call myself a witch, no.
You're a wizard.
Yeah, no. Wouldn't it be, is wizards like a guy or like a warlock, right? And then there's a witch or...
But it's also a thing where like actresses are now actors, right?
That's true.
So I wonder if wizards whatever and then witch is something even different. But in Harry Potter, I think there's witches and wizards. Because like Harry's a wizard and Hermione's a witch. Actually, I don't know.
No, she's a wizard too.
Oh.
I think so. I think like, I don't know. I call it like woo-woo. That's how it's like a word I use when it starts to get a little bit like spiritual or where I know people kind of are like, oh, I don't know if I believe in this. Yeah. Like the energy around crystals. I sell crystals. Or
I have a crystal in my window.
Do you like them? I feel like.
I don't know. But you know what? I can say this. So I've had a lot of good luck so far, and I put that in like the day I moved in. Yeah. Because one of my friends randomly gave it to me, and I was like, you know what? It happened to be in my jacket pocket. I'm like, I'm just gonna put it in the window, and I didn't realize that's what charging a crystal is.
It does in the sun or the moon or yeah.
Like I forgot that I put it there. I was like, oh, wait, there's a thing in the window there. But I've had some pretty good luck. So maybe I could say I've been working hard, but maybe it's all to the
crystal. What kind of crystal is it? What color?
It's the purple one.
An amethyst?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
But you're like, actually, that's bad luck.
Yeah, I'm like, take it out. No. No, I think that's a good one. But
also, here's another thing. Not to cut you off. I had Little Orchid Annie. Did you ever meet? I think she's in Ballard too, or Fremont.
Little Orchid Annie. So I only know her because these people do terrariums, and I think that they're in her store too. Yeah.
So she came in here because I was looking for advice if I could put plants in this room, and I can't because there's no direct sunlight. So I put a peace lily, which is supposed to be like one of the easiest plants to like survive, and that even almost died. And someone came in the other day and took it, which was cool. So I'm like, hey, someone, you can make it live. But so there's no direct sunlight hitting that crystal. So is it actually being charged?
I don't know. I'd have to see.
Oh, there we go.
But you could have a snake plant in here. Have you ever heard of those?
Yeah, but I heard those need something too. Like I have zero light.
Do you get like indirect light? Like there's at least some brightness?
Yeah, it's very indirect.
Yeah, you could totally like put a snake plant in here. And there's different kinds. I think people don't like always the ones that are just straight up, but they have these starburst ones that are really cool. They almost grow like a flower. They'll help purify the air, and they're good just to have a plant.
I'm down to do that. I need to like I'm in here so much that I'm definitely nose blind, right? So I have that thing. I just turn it off because it gets loud, but I have a filter thing that I turn on every once in a while. So, but also this building's old as fuck. Like the whole building itself smells bad. And I'd like to think my room smells at least decent, but like.
I'm gonna be honest. I lost part of my smell when I was younger, so I don't know. But coming in here, it doesn't smell bad.
I don't
think
have
it's
smell,
like
so
really.
I have like some people like get like memories associated with smell. Like I can if something smells bad, it makes me like nauseous. But besides that, like I have no idea what. If someone's like, "Oh my god, that smells good," I'm like, "What?"
Does it? Can you taste things then? Because aren't they connected?
I don't know actually.
Yeah.
But I like sugar.
Mm.
But who's to say that I really like what I'm eating versus like what I feel off sugar?
I wonder if it's like sugar is such a strong taste and that's why you can have it. Or do you ever have like bitter things? Like broccoli or kale or bitters? Can you taste those?
Yeah, I guess. It's just my taste and my smell is not good. Like, like if I were a ninja and I was supposed to like have these senses, I would fail.
That's like almost me too, though. Yeah. It's interesting. But mine was from a surgery, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, and they were like, if we take too much, then you'll like lose your smell completely, I guess. But so I didn't really like notice a difference. That's just kind of how it is.
What happened to your nose or?
Well, it was actually my my stomach.
Yeah.
They like removed part of my colon when I was younger.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, it happened when I was younger.
Did you have a colostomy back at that point?
I did for like a little bit. That was
I know that word though.
You do, yeah. That was like a little. It was when I was like in between 4th and 5th grade. Wow. So I don't know. I feel like it's the best time to have something like that happen because it's kind of like you miss school. It's not a big deal. You're kind of don't really know what's going on, and you get to move on with your life. So
that's what I think about braces. Like I didn't make fun of people with braces, but I always was like, oh, they have braces, weird. And now like I definitely need braces. I have like a snaggle tooth, and like I have this gap in my. I've been looking at like older pictures of me, and I have this gap, and it slowly got bigger and bigger, and now like over the past like 6 months, I have like a snaggle tooth. So I have to get braces, and I'm like, damn. If I was younger, my parents would have definitely like probably covered that.
And now you're like an adult, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, I went to the orthodontist, and they're like, that's $5,000. Oh. I'm like, well, let me handle this lease first.
That's the thing too. That's like having a business though. It's kind of like you're like, okay, so I have to pay this, and like for me, I don't take any money from my business right now, and I also still give my own money to my business, and I'm like, okay, I can like do this, or I could actually buy new products for the store. I can like,
Do you have a second job then?
I do. So but it's because I have like a car that I had when I came into the thing, and I want to like pay that off. I think until like my business is making enough money that I could hire other people, I don't really want to like just fully like try to like put that pressure on it, right?
Right. That
but
makes sense.
it's bartending, so it's not like
Oh, where at?
yeah.
Is that a thing? Do you want people to know, or is that like a thing where you want to like?
Oh, I don't care.
Oh,
Yeah.
where is that?
I bartend actually at 2 places.
Okay.
Shout out to my best friend Drew. She's like the reason. As soon as I actually like got the Seattle Restored contract, she was like, "Okay, like you are really getting a job at these places. Like it's gonna be perfect for you." So one is the Breannah. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's like one of the oldest bars in Greenwood. It's like some of the people I bartend with have like literally changed the diapers of like the new owner of like because it's like in the same family.
Yeah.
And then the other one's literally just up the street. It's called Lamplighter. So
What? I have not heard of either of these.
it's in Greenwood. Do you ever go to that area?
Yeah. I go to like I go to like every city. I feel like I know every city somewhat well.
Yeah. So Lamplighter is more of like a sports bar. We have like the same kind of people that come into that. There's a lot of pool tabs. I don't know if you know what that is.
Pool tabs?
Yeah.
So like
It's kind of like gambling for
Oh.
people. Yeah.
I think I've seen. Oh yeah. You know, you're not talking about like the pool. You're talking about like pool.
Pool tabs. But no, but like you get like these pieces of paper. I didn't know what they were either until I worked at these bars, but they're
I
like
think I saw one the other day. There's like there are bins of them.
bins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love those.
Yeah.
Like that is if I were to ever just open a business to like maybe have a business that makes a lot of money, I would have like pull tabs. That's it. Because people come in and they play for hours and they just like love it, and then they win and then they lose and then they win and then they lose. But
because you have to win at some point because there's like a winner in that jug or whatever, right? Okay.
And sometimes they're big. Like I've given away, I think the biggest was like $2,400 or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but that person like they put hundreds of dollars in, and they've been going there longer than I'm alive. So it's like
So what? That's so funny. Dang.
Yeah.
So and you like bartending then?
Yeah.
That's cool. I've been like a barista, but like I wasn't a fan. Like I worked at this one barista place where it was like in Monroe. Have you been to Monroe before?
I have. I grew up in Snohomish.
Okay.
So
wow, my family's from Snohomish.
Really?
Yeah. That's crazy. So in Monroe, there's like this Starbucks like right when you get off the freeway, right? It's like a drive-through Starbucks we can also sit in. And I worked there right when I graduated high school, and I had transferred from another Starbucks, and they kept my pay. So and Monroe had like a lower pay. So I was making more than everyone, like more than the manager.
It's like a recipe for disaster.
And it was all like Boeing wives that were just like there to like make some extra money and be with their friends and make Starbucks drinks. And when they found out, it was like disaster, and I left.
Well, that's kind of like corporate coffee, right?
Yeah.
I was a
Corporate
barista
coffee.
too. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's like, I feel like I've been a barista. My sister was a barista too. And I feel like if you find like a good stand and it's like, it's more fun. You get to just hang out. But I think it's also sometimes a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Like there's always like some like cattiness that can happen. And maybe that happened with you too. And like this.
Some people like that drama. I don't.
I don't either. And but then it's like you almost are like forced to pick a side. Like you can't, no matter how hard you try to stay neutral, it's like you're constantly everyone's like, oh man.
That's why I'm a lone wolf now. I am a total, but then that comes with its own things. Like I'm such a lone, like, so you're saying there's only like a couple of apothecaries. There's even less podcast studios. So like me trying to figure out what I'm doing right and not doing right has been like insane. And then like, there's not even like an actual podcast category for taxes. So like I had to make multiple phone calls to figure out what I actually fall under. Like everything's just so new. It's kind of wild.
It's hard. And it's hard already with taxes and everything. Like
just paid it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that sucked. That really sucked.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I'm actually got some money saved up. I was like, oh wait. So
like,
RIP. So you how did you get started with this like daily ritual market, and like how did you find Seattle Restored?
Yeah, so I'll start with how I found it first. I honestly was just on Instagram one day, and I briefly went to school for film and photography.
Oh, there we go.
I did 1 quarter, realized that no matter how much I like to like create and take videos and pictures, like definitely wasn't a career for me.
Got it.
So there was a lot of people that I followed that were kind of in like art and videography and photography, and someone had reposted and was like, this is such a good opportunity. And at the time, I had actually had, my business was like Daily Ritual Apothecary.
Okay.
And I had just been making my own products that were like bath soaks, body butter, serums. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I should totally apply.
Yeah.
I applied, I made it in, and then it was like a long process until I
Yeah.
actually like was in a space. But yeah, that's how I found it. And then I started Daily Ritual Apothecary. Actually, I was on a phone call with a friend, and I have really sensitive skin. I'm like, a lot of lotions or things like that have like added perfumes or added like colorants or different things are really irritating.
That's my mom.
Really?
She like dies.
That's like a lot of people though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are more sensitive than we even realize. But I love taking baths. And so I was living next to Rainbow Natural Remedies, and they had like all these different herbs. And then I knew of Zenith Supplies, which is no longer open, but they were kind of like, maybe not really an apothecary, but they were like bulk. So they had like bulk lotions, bulk salts, bulk essential oils. So I was like talking to my friend on the phone, and I was like, you know what? Like maybe I should just make my own bath soaks. Like that would be fun. And I've always loved business. So I just kind of started that. And then I got really lucky because I basically did this like giveaway. And on the giveaway, my friend from high school, Morgan, was going to Western, and she reposted it. Who then other people she knew like reposted it and entered. And one of them won. And then the person that won told their friend about it, and their friend ended up buying products from me.
Yeah.
But they were going to esthetician school, so they told their like teacher how much they liked my products. And then because of her, she like told us a lot about my products, and like it really like helped kind of get me into like retail and get me into like kind of forced me to build my brand like a little bit. But then I actually took a break like after I think I got sick.
What is the time frame for all this? Is this BC or AC? Before COVID or after COVID?
So after COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know I'm like just can keep going with this story, but so 2020 was like when I kind of started my business. November was like my first kind of post, and I was like, it was still COVID, and I was like I was living in a loft at the time and working kind of from home, but also like I was working at this cafe too. Like my job was kind of flexible a little bit. So I was like making these things and like putting it on Instagram and TikTok, and thankfully like my friends reposted it, and I was like, oh, like this has 600 views, like I'm getting some momentum.
Heck yeah.
And then 2021 was like I kind of was doing markets and kind of figuring it out, and I did my first market in Portland because it was still COVID time. So I didn't know like where to find Seattle markets. It's still like, I think it's sometimes hard to like know where to sell your products.
For anything. Man.
Yeah.
Like Seattle is just like, there's so many people, and like no one knows what the
it's
fuck to do.
overwhelming. Yeah.
It is.
And so I kind of like, I don't even know how I found it. I like to go on like social media and look at what like everybody else is doing that's similar to what I'm doing. And then I like found this market that looked kind of cool, and I was like, oh, I'll just go to this. And like in hindsight, I definitely lost money that day. But
you have to pay to be part of any thing, right? Got it.
But I think it was only like $75.
Oh man.
Yeah, which is not bad. But like I made like a few $100s, right? Maybe like $400. I went with my mom. But like gas and the products and driving there, like we had to stay in a hotel and like all this stuff. And so it sparked like, oh, I love talking to people about these products. People like my products. People will buy my products. And that was kind of like the beginning of like, okay, this is really it. But also I had to like take a step back and realize like, okay, you can't just like drive to Portland and like I would have to sell like way more to actually like make it profitable. But then when I was in like the Seattle Restored, like once I got the space, I realized like first apothecary is like really hard to say for people, and that I like wanted to be more than just like my products. So I thought of like Daily Ritual Market, which is kind of more than just my apothecary products, and I bring in other things. I do plants in the spring and summertime. So that's kind of how that one started.
Nice. So then how have you been able to stay in Ballard this entire time? So your Seattle Restored steps out, and then what does that look like? Because I'm about to be in that position too.
Me? Yeah. So funny enough, I found my Ballard lease on Craigslist.
Mm.
I knew that I only had a few months left in Seattle Restored, so I was like looking everywhere I could to see if maybe there was a better space.
Mm.
And so I signed onto this lease, and it's only 350 square feet.
Mm.
So my rent is not too expensive. I can cover that. And I signed only like a 2.5 year lease. So I basically got very, very lucky, and someone wanted to get out of their lease. So they signed me onto their lease.
Mm.
Yeah. But that was kind of hard because the landlord was like a little bit scared to have me in the space. So I
Yeah.
really had to like send these emails and be like, okay, I can do it. This is my brand vision. This is what I've done. Like, this is how I'm going to pay for it. This is even if I don't make any money, like I'm still keeping this job to make sure that I can like still pay for everything. And then they actually kept their name on the lease because they were like, you kind of remind us of your daughter. Like,
oh my gosh.
yeah. So it really was like,
Wow.
everything kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just had to like jump on it. I was like, you know what, no matter what, I'll just figure it out.
So what is like full time? What would that look like to you to do full time apothecary work?
Full-time apothecary work? Could you rephrase that question?
So like if you were to not have to bartend and you were able to work full time at Daily Ritual Market, what would it take and what would that look like? Does that mean like you have to like raise all your prices? Does it just mean there's more customers coming in, or what would make that a feasible option for you?
How is it? So basically, I think once I feel comfortable, like really fully jumping in, I think my hope is like over the next few months as my sales, like I had a really, just from walk-in traffic, I had a really good like summer. And then the winter, I realized there's a lot of different like marketing things like Christmas or the holidays that people also come in. But my sales have definitely dipped, and now I'm way more prepared to go into like this spring and summertime and kind of know I have like a good grasp on who the people are that come in and how to really market to them and what products I'm bringing in. And I'm building like brand loyalty. Like I'm just starting a rewards program that I think will help like the online and the in-person. So I think it's just me like taking that step to really be like, you know what, like it will be fine. I think I'm just scared of like putting that pressure on the business, right? So it's like,
well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm balls to the wall with this.
Really?
Like, I'm like, so I'm 23, and like ever since I was 18, I was like, I'm just gonna be a podcaster and a DJ.
That's so cool though.
But that's what I've been doing, whether that's been making money or not. This year, I think the 4 years of just doing that has paid off, and I'm finally making like good money. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of money I could have made just by staying at like potentially Starbucks or something. So you know what? I think if people need more time to feel comfortable before jumping in, I think that's fair, because I know a ton of artists who've jumped into record deals or whatever, and now they're like a mess.
Yeah.
Whether like they resorted to like drugs, or like they're just not releasing music and they have to move back with family or whatever. Like, I don't know. You kind of gotta be crazy or like something to just jump full force in.
Yeah.
So maybe I was what is that? Naive?
I don't think so. I don't think you were naive. I think that you were like following your path, right? Like that's what it was meant to be. And I think that when you have like that trust in yourself, like right now I'm only bartending like 3 nights a week, and that's really to like pay my car payment, which is like almost $500 a month. And like,
what do you have?
It's a Nissan Xterra, but it was like kind of expensive, and I don't know. I got the car like before I kind of was like doing this, and so then it's like I'm like, okay, I've got to like pay this thing, and just other stuff. I have a dog, and so I feel like for me, it would be a lot of money. I'd have to like pull from the business every month to like pay for everything. So, but I feel like if I didn't have those things, then I would just be at the store like all the time, and that would be it actually. So
that's basically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I went from basically being at other people's studios all the time to being at your own.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least there's, it's pretty cool in here. Got a lot of Mickey Mouse stuff. Got a Mickey Mouse tattoo, Mickey Mouse paintings, Mickey Mouse whatever. So This is my thing.
It's like your happy place, probably,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. So it's coming together slowly but surely. So how long have you been like when were you part of Seattle Restore? Was it just like last year or 2 years ago?
So 2022.
Okay.
I
Oh wow.
technically was supposed to open in November,
Okay.
or like that's when I opened, but I think my opening was like December.
Mhm.
And then I was only in that space from December, and then January, February, March I like closed. So only a few months. I had like the full 9 months. They gave me the extension, but then I found the space in like I knew that I had to start looking for a lease, and I like signed the lease on my birthday on May of last year.
Wait, so what happened to the other lease though? Were you just signing like month to month at the other place or something?
For Seattle Restored?
You said through Seattle Restored you were in a space for like 4 months.
Yeah. So that was like, you know how they give you like the 3 months
Yeah.
and then they give you the 6-month extension?
Oh, because when I moved into this space, we just made it like all one thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
that's where I'm like, now that makes sense. What's okay?
Yeah. So I had a
Wow.
total of like 9 months I could have been there,
Mhm.
but I was like, he's not with Seattle Restored anymore, but I like emailed Martin and I was like,
Yeah.
so I found this really great space. Like, I really think I should jump on this lease. Like, I don't know what to do about my Seattle Restored contract because I still have like more time left. And he
Mhm.
was like, it's okay. We can find someone else for the space. Like, it's been great. Like, and so then they kind of gave me, I think I moved out in like April, and then I spent some time like figuring out the store, and then I officially opened like June 17th.
Got it.
And I would say like that was like the start of Daily Ritual Market, truly, because in the other space, I did a lot of fun things. We had like events, we did yoga and all these great sound bath practitioners and stuff, but I wasn't really like selling a lot of stuff. I would only really sell on days that we had events because the space was kind of, I would have some like people come from like social media or something like that, but it was in this area in the international district that was like only like the store next to me was closed, there was nobody there. The other store next to me was closed, there was nobody there. Then it was like a mailing place and then like a food place. And
Shit, you weren't like on Jackson, were you?
I was on Jackson. Yeah, 12th and Jackson. So
Oh, I think that's where they were trying to like move me into.
really?
And I was like, no offense, but that place looks sketchy as fuck.
Yeah. So actually, like
I said hell no.
Yeah. I took the opportunity because I was like, well, there's parking.
Yeah.
So you know what? Like I can get people to come to like the events and bring people in. But I think I was naive in the fact that like a retail business relies a lot on people walking by and shopping in the other area. Unless you're like every once in a while I'll drive out to a place and be like, oh, I'm just going here. But I think like the main consumer for like really helping give your business like that sustained growth is like being around other shops that are kind of doing the same stuff as you. So
people are
really large
definitely pushing to like make that area like Skid Row of Seattle.
which is so sad. I think like I don't know, that like that place has a special place in my heart, and I think like my neighbors were nice. They were like also though I remember one time the lady was like, I keep my door locked, and like I was like, okay. And I would like try to tell people to come, and there's this great girl that goes to like a lot of different events, and she was like, oh, you're trying to get my friends to come like to your events, but they're too scared. And I'm like, oh, that really sucks to hear, because I was never scared in that area. I feel like there's a lot of great food, there's a lot of great people. There's really expensive apartments over there now too, which is crazy. And so I don't know, it was sad, but Ballard is definitely better for my business. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, like my business is making money and I'm like doing this and I'm bringing in all these new products and doing stuff. But it's such a small space that I don't do events right now.
Like Ballard's like kind of like hipster too. Would you say are Apothecaries hipster or like hip? I guess maybe just the hippie part.
Kind
hipster,
of.
Or
it's interesting. I have like, it's hard to like pinpoint my one exact like customer profile, because you get the people that are like very aware of like, they'll come in and they're like, okay, I'm going to use this tincture for this, or like, I know exactly what this herb is. And then I have people that are new, but they kind of hear these buzzwords, and I make sure to bring products in that kind of like highlight that too, so it's more approachable. And they'll just kind of like an eczema cream I brought in recently, and people just kind of like will pick it off the shelf and know that it works for them. And I had this really funny guy come in the other day, and I almost felt like he was a little embarrassed because he kind of like, he got this stuff and he was with his friends, and then he just kind of threw it down and like didn't even like look or anything. And I was like, okay, like I quickly ringed him up, put it in a bag, and I was like, there you go. But then I feel like I also sell like bracelets and crystals and stuff like that. So
that guy reminds me of like if you're like buying condoms at Rite Aid.
Yeah, it's like you don't like want to make eye contact with the cashier, and so.
Oh my gosh! So you handle it all on your own, though, like you.
Yeah.
So how do you make those hours work for you?
So I'm open, like the most busy hours for the store right now are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday is the biggest day because of the markets. So I have a lot of like foot traffic. I am going to expand my hours though more, especially to cater to like the Ballard community, because I don't think they like to come out as much on the weekends because that's when we get a lot of like visitors that are coming to Ballard.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy. I only bartend 3 nights, or 2 days and 1 night. So it's not like that takes up a lot of time. But I wanted to have the store like really make use of the hours that I'm open. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's something I'm thinking about too, especially when my new lease starts. Like, is that something that I should, like, my goal, and in wedding season, I'm a wedding DJ as well.
Oh, cool.
That's my DJ shit right there. So, but like, like that will help me like get these new prices rolling and feel comfortable about taking that leap. But, I'm like, dang, what if I close my studio for a day or two that aren't busy and I find like some side job? Like those are things you do have to think about, even for someone that might want to just focus on doing media. There might be a time I have to think about that. My goal is that doesn't happen, but like, I think that's smart to like be open when it's busy versus just, I'm just going to be open every day. And just sometimes I'm just going to be sitting in my store.
Yeah. There is things to do. Like, I'm never sure of things I could possibly be doing for the store.
Fair enough.
It feels like you like check one thing off and you're like, okay, there's 50, like you turn the page and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 15 more things I have to do. But I think like really honing in on like the busy times, or for you, like, I feel like there's only, I mean, if there's people coming in and they want to do their podcast, maybe they only do podcasts so they can really be available anytime. But you could like look at, okay, people after work who are coming in, or the weekends work best for people, and then kind of cater that way.
For sure.
And it might help you too, because then it's like a scarcity thing, right? If they're like, oh, I need to like book him before like the space runs out, right? If you're not available 24/7 every day, they'll be like, okay, like let me book a few weeks in advance to make sure that I
That's a good point. Yeah. I've been super lenient about booking, like almost like before, like the first studio I worked at, like it was like you only needed 24-hour notice, which was fucking terrible. But like now, like I know most of my clients personally at this point, so like they can book like a day in advance or 2 days in advance. But like there's something to setting boundaries. I don't think I have super strict boundaries with my clients right now. So figuring that out that's definitely important. So for me, I've been trying to figure out like what does make me stand out versus other podcast studios, because, I think I have a lot of good equipment. I'm the person facilitating everything. So that's something that makes me stand out right away. But for you, what makes you stand out compared to these other apothecaries?
So I think what makes me stand out is I try to be approachable. So it's not just about like I have a wall of herbs, which is really cool, but I also have like a lot of labels for things, or I try really hard to bring in products that like kind of fit into being like easy to digest. So the labeling's really good. Anything I make myself, I try to like put the benefits right there. You have to be a little careful. Like you can't be like cures anxiety or something that. But I think that's kind of the difference, is it's like a space you can come into and it's just like, that you'll feel well. And I think sometimes people get intimidated by like an apothecary because they don't know what they need from there. They know that maybe it's going to help them, but they're kind of like, ooh. And then the people, I've only ever met nice people at apothecaries, but I think people just get nervous. And so
Yeah.
coming into my space, I feel like I'm like, hello, and like I play music and I have candles, and I think I want to be like your friend, and I want to be like someone that's going to help you, but I also like get nervous like when I'm in stores with like people coming up to me all the time. So
Yeah.
I also like let people know, I'm like, let me know if you have any questions, and like kind of give them their space too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's that like really I'm focused on the personal aspect, and people are the most important thing to me, and I think like people first, products second.
So how does
Yeah.
that even work with like products? So you brought up the word woo woo,
Oh yeah.
but does that mean some of these things are just like they may actually work, they may not, or how does that
So
even?
I think like FDA regulations, you have to be really careful about what you say.
Yeah.
But also like I make an aura spray, which is like
Okay.
so that's when you get into like the woo woo of
Yeah.
like people are like, oh, aura, and some people are like, I remember I sold it at a market, and someone's like, I saw you post this, like I came for my
Oh my
like
gosh.
coworker to buy this aura spray, like they need to clear their energy. So that's like in the woo woo territory,
Yeah.
but I use like witch hazel, which is like astringent for your face. You can spray it on your face or the air. And then I put a blend of essential oils in there that are actually like known to kind of help clear the energy and kind of provide like relaxation and things like that. So,
Mm.
and I don't know how much you believe in like aromatherapy or the benefits of
I
things, but
don't think I'm opposed to knowing anything. I might make jokes about things, but like honestly, like I'm so open to like hearing people out on anything that. So I'm open to what you're about to say.
so that's like basically it. I feel like it's if you believe in like the benefits of aromatherapy, then you can understand like how energetically it might kind of clear that heavier, denser energy that you're feeling. That's when it kind of gets into like the woo woo or crystals or um I have like sage or cleansing kind of. I'm bringing in these really cool cleansing bundles. But that's like not as approachable for people. And so sometimes I'll notice like people are interested in maybe a spray because it smells good, but then they don't necessarily want the spray that says aura cleanser. But then I have like a love potion or something like that. So I do bring in these really awesome Reiki candles. I'll give her a shout out. Her name's Marcy, and she's a Reiki practitioner. And I think, oh my gosh, I'm like caught on this thing.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of Reiki before?
I have, but can you remind me what it is?
So it's almost like if someone were to give you like a Reiki healing, they would not even touch you, but they like their energy through them. But then there's other things. There's symbols and there's different stuff. She did a Reiki class at my old space, and her candles smelled so good, and she like infuses her Reiki energy into them. So I have people that love those candles, and then other people are like, oh, I'm paying $55 for a candle that has like someone's energy in it. So people are like willing to pay for that, but they're also like hesitant sometimes. Or I have this one girl that's really cool, and she like came in, she loves the candles. She came in again, she bought another candle. She gifted one to her mom. She came in because she was like, my mom said I was low on my candle. So I don't know, it's kind of.
Wait, so what brought you into this in the first place? Like what made you, I'm guessing you have to be somewhat spiritual to be into this. Is this just like something that like has been like reinforced in your family growing up or something, or what?
Not really. I would definitely be, now my sister is more into it with me and we can talk about it, but I was definitely like alone in it, I would say. But mine started actually when I was like sick because of my Crohn's. I like realized that you could heal your body a lot from like herbs or different things like that. It took a long time for me to get there. I like wouldn't say that I like growing up was like, oh my gosh, let me just like take this tea and I'll be good. But as I kind of like grew up, I realized like there's so much healing you can do with like the things you put in your body or the things you put on your body. And then I kind of got into more of like energy and how you're feeling and like manifestation, I believe in a lot.
Yeah.
Where it starts to get really woo woo, like past lives or things like that.
But I at least gotta say, like, to a certain extent, like everyone in, like so many people in society are already like overprescribed things.
Yeah.
If there's ways to like lean that off and like figure out other ways that make you feel better, whether it is placebo or not, I think there's some benefit into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, so many people that are fucking like zombies off whatever they're
That's
on,
true,
or
yeah.
like when I was growing up, my teacher wanted to, like my teacher literally told, like I was like, what, second grade? She like tried to convince my parents to put me on Adderall when I was in like second grade.
Really?
My parents like flipped out at her, and then I didn't get prescribed. I haven't been on any of that. I may have ADHD or something. I have no idea. But the point is, like, so many people at a young age start getting prescribed all this crazy shit. So like, if you're seeing benefit and you're able to like show people that there's benefit in it, then who cares if people call it woo? But it seems like you are using woo in a positive way.
I embrace the woo. That is like my gist. I'm not scared to like embrace it. Like that is what it is. But I do have like a tip for you. If you think that you have like a maybe focus or something like that, you could try Rhodelia. Just get like a dropper of it and put it in your water and drink it in the morning. Or
what is it, though?
Rhodelia. So it's like an herb, but you can get it in like a concentrated form, like at Whole Foods or something like that.
Yeah.
And then have you heard of chaga mushroom?
No.
Chaga mushroom is like my favorite one to talk about for the last few years. But you can almost think about it as like the way mushrooms like connect, right? And so it helps like the neurons in your brain when you take it, and it's really good for focus.
But this isn't like shrooms.
No.
How many people that are into apothecaries like smoke weed and do shrooms?
You would be surprised. There's like, I think when people think of apothecaries, they think of like a lot of hippies. But when I think of apothecaries, I just think of honestly people like doing yoga or people like that are kind of on that path of like wellness. Yeah. But chaga is like a good one. And it's kind of a buzzword now, actually. You can find it in a lot of like powders or mixes or things like that.
What about like CBD? Is that count as apothecary stuff or no?
I would say so, maybe. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apothecary is like
but you don't
natural.
do CBD.
No, I don't have CBD. Okay. No. I think like I've had people who make CBD products that maybe like want to sell them in the apothecary, like in the store. But I haven't brought it in yet because I think there's a lot of education in a lot of the products I sell. And that is like one area that I don't have like as much experience with. I've taken like CBD gummies before, things like that. They definitely chill me out. But
is there ever like an example of like someone believing this shit too much and like it takes over their life? Like, do you think that can happen where they're like, oh my God, I need to go to my apothecary every day, buying all this shit, I'm hoarding it, and if I don't take this, I can't leave the house? Like, do you think people can get
I think people could definitely get like that. I think that there is, so you have to be careful with herbs and tinctures and things like that. Like you can't just, if you're pregnant, you can't have certain ones. If you take certain medications, you can't have certain things. Like turmeric is like a root, but it also comes in a powder form or teas and people take it. But if you have like high blood pressure, you're not supposed to have it.
Damn.
So, or not blood pressure, but blood thinning, like blood issues. So I feel like it's not just like something that you can be like, okay, let me like take every herb every day. But it's, I think, just like how people kind of sometimes they're like desperate to find a solution. Like they're like, okay, I'm really not feeling well and I need to find something to make me better. And I think you could fall down that like loop of never ending tunnel of like, okay, every morning I take my tincture and then 2 hours later, like on the dot, I have to take another one or something because it's like a placebo effect. It's like, okay, this is the only thing that will get me out of bed today. Similar to if you take Adderall or if you take something where you're like, okay, I can't focus if I don't take this. Where I think sometimes it's like, it makes me kind of sad to think about actually. So I'll stop thinking about it. But yeah.
I guess the last example I would bring up though is like Seattle's like a place where people smoke weed. I don't smoke weed and everyone thinks I smoke weed. I'll do fucking gummy weed. I mean, not gummy shrooms though. But like I have so many friends that are just like, when they take a break from smoking weed, they're like, wow, I actually feel like I'm focusing more and more calm versus, because like some people like to say that you can't get addicted to weed and then they're like, use it as a crutch,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's everything in moderation. Even my fucking gummy shrooms.
Yeah, please in moderation. I feel like you have to be careful, but
so my last thing was, so how much of the stuff is it that you make versus like you're like buying, or how does that?
How does it work? So when I first started, I stopped making as many of my products so that I could kind of like diversify what was in the store. But I've been working with my business coach, Shanti, and she's encouraged me to really start bringing back my products. So now like I have a full wall of my teas, I'm bringing my candles, soaps. So I would say like maybe 40 to 30% of like my stuff. But everything else that's in the store, I've either tried myself. I know the people that make it. They're other small businesses, and I've probably spent hours like looking at their branding, their website, how they talk to their consumers.
Yeah.
So it's still very like personalized, even if I haven't made it myself. It's like they were under a fine microscope to like get in the doors of Daily Ritual Market.
Hell yeah. Well, you won me over. I need to come by sometime.
Yeah, please come by anytime. Yeah. I'll even if I'm not open, I tell people like I still have the keys. It's not like it's not like I'm only open like or I'll tell my friends. I'm like, it's like it's still my store. Like we can go in there anytime. So
100%. So where can people find you? What's the address? Do you have a website, etc.?
Yeah, so Daily Ritual Market is at 2211 Northwest Market Street, which is like angel numbers 2211. And then I have a website, dailyritualmarket.co, like no M at the end. And then Instagram is Daily Ritual Market.
This has been the NAST podcast with
Breannah.
And we did it.